I am Ron Madison, and I'm at Genesee Intermediate School District of Flint, Michigan, and my title is Instructional Technologist and Designer.
All right.
So with that, that means multiple titles because I'm also affiliated with the RIMC Association. So statewide, at the county level in Michigan, we service multiple school districts within our county, but we also service the entire state. So I have that privilege of doing that type of thing, and former executive board member and treasurer of the McCall organization. So I have a lot of draws to being at this wonderful conference and things like that.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, Ron. I
Yeah.
appreciate having you on the show. Our first connection was FETC 2022, I want to say.
You're better with the math. That's good. I like that.
You literally came on the show, Mary Alice.
Yeah.
I was talking with her, and you were walking by, and she pulled you in, and I literally got it from my seat. You sat down and gave dropped a couple of gems on us, which then
I thought I was going to be charged for that too. I was like, oh my gosh, penalties.
Yeah, and then we had a conversation at TCA last month, about 5 weeks ago, which led to me coming here and connecting. And I want to thank you for pushing me to come to McCall. You got to come to McCall. You got to come to McCall. And I got with Angie and the team, and they were able to get me over here. So made it. Finally made it to the D.
Hooray! Which I'm very proud of just within that, because a lot of times, especially with McCall, so the organization, we only have 2 cities that can handle the capacity of the attendees.
Got it.
And that's Detroit and Grand Rapids.
I would have never thought Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do the flip-flop every other year to what's going on. And so it is just so, it's just the cosmic moment for you to be here your first time in Detroit,
Yeah.
And so it is great. I love the people here and the conference and the things that happen in Michigan. Michigan is a huge state. When people think about that, because we have members in the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah.
My daughter attends Northern Michigan, and it's 6.5, 7 hours from where we are right now, And I was like, I know you play ball and everything, volleyball and everything, baby.
Not going to be able to make it to everything.
Right. Understand. The internet is wonderful. But I loved it. I got to do some training for folks with our esports and some other things. And again, that's why I talked about that state component, that we went around doing training around the state and being one of the lead persons with that. And just, it's a beautiful place, great people, but understanding even our Upers as what they're referred to come
for the
down
Upper
here.
Peninsula.
Oh yeah. To come down here, it's a big endeavor, and they're strong. They're strong, and they do it all the time. So for those that say, oh my gosh, I got to drive an hour to get to the D and all this kind of stuff, they're doing 6, 7, 8, depending upon how they're doing the bus and the charter and stuff like that. So it can be very intense, but they've always said it's well worth it. And not just from the sessions, and I encourage people all the time how we got to know each other, the power of network.
The personal connection, the
That's
network,
right.
the building to your professional learning community and network.
Absolutely. Because of when the session ends, if that's all you get, that's all you got. But when you build a network, it keeps growing. And as things change, but you can still draw from each other. And so you have this empowerment as you hear this iron sharpen iron.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people think you have 2 perfected pieces of iron that's sharpening. No. Both of those irons are imperfecting, but you're sharpening each other to become better. So you have educators that may have expertise in certain areas, but they're sharpening each other and say, I didn't have that perspective,
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, man. And even you're never really that iron will never be as sharp as you want it to be, because it's going to get dull over time.
Absolutely.
You have peaks and valleys, and it's going to happen.
I thought that was just me, man. As people say, Ron, you talk a lot. And I said, and can you believe that after being in education 30 years, being a pastor, musician, live performance is huge, that I will get nervous and start second guessing myself all the time. Like,
It's
is that
human
okay?
nature, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
My session yesterday, I'm asking people, so, okay, thumbs up if you thought it was worth your time, sideways if, you would like to see a lot more work to be done on the team, or if this was a waste of time, the thumbs
then
down.
Then put up a different finger.
Yeah. I call it a half a peace sign saying you're number one.
Yeah. I'll tell people, read between the lines.
I'll have to do that. I'll read between the lines. Is that what you're telling me? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, students have taught me that one. Okay.
Oh, yeah. In the hallways. And yeah, absolutely. So you've got feelers and you've got experience and expertise in all these different areas. Now, we're gonna go back 48, 50 months.
Yeah.
50 months maybe to AI when it first came on the scene. Everybody was scared and cheating. That was the big conversation back then. Cheating.
Back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still a conversation.
I'm about to say back then.
It's a conversation that I think that needs to be dead in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we need to go as educators? Where do we need to shift our time and focus, specifically with student AI use now?
That's a great question. And I've loved, because my RIMC organization, and I'm on that advisory board, we've done some things differently. When we would go to different parts of the state of Michigan, we also work hard to get inside corporates. So we get into corporations and then get to see, we were in the UP and people are doing things with engineers for national stuff, military. And it's not that they don't have the brains. The guy says, we use AI every day. He says, it's not that I can't do it, but the time it saves me. So now I'm tweaking what's going through to save this time. And then they would take us on the floor and see that the units that's being operated. Now you have a person that's overseeing what AI is doing, but it's just to make sure the inaccuracy is such a low number. And so you'll have a person working the floor and they're overseeing all of these different units that's going on. The question that they now speak is, do we have people qualified and have the ability and willingness to learn and adapt to this? I told some teachers, they was like, oh no, I'm not allowing my kids to do AI because of cheating. So I added on my presentation with the districts, I said, so you have fear, false evidence appearing real, but let's bring some reality to that.
Whoa. You made your own acronym?
Yeah. Okay. Fear, false evidence appearing real.
Okay.
With that is, my next slide will be, so we didn't have cheating before the computer in the classroom and to have a person with a piece of paper.
Never happened, right?
Never.
Until 2022 November.
But we have to ask questions. Usually I'll take 10 minutes and ask. We're past the statute of limitations. Let's have some verbal examples. And let me tell you, people have some wild, freaky stuff. I'm telling you, I'm like, oh my, you were doing what? Oh yeah. But who thought they were in fear of losing their job? No one.
Yeah.
If you know your customer base, air quote, your students, then you should know. I said, if Johnny couldn't write his last name last week and now you can get a thesis, he had some help. I'm not saying if it's AI or whatever. Go back to elementary when I did special ed for over 18 years and you would have that science project.
The trifold.
Who had the help at home?
You could see it right away.
You knew it right, but you had to accept everyone's.
Yes.
But you also could tell the child whose parent might have had PTSD when it came to school because of how they were treated. So baby, you figure this out. So as educators, we're really judging on the wrong precept of what's going on. So the fear of, are you cheating? Did you get some assistance? I look at it, is this a supplemental tool? If AI helped you create whatever this topic is that you're writing about, one of the things I say, going back to, do you know your customer? Do you know your student? They didn't have that, Gabriel, I love what you've written here. What inspired you on that third paragraph? Get back to me. I want you to review back over that and we'll come back to that. And then I'm still working my classroom. You know what I didn't do? I didn't have blood clots and hypertension and all of this kind of stuff. How dare you? And
You didn't put me on the spot in front of my peers.
Why? We know it doesn't work.
It backfires.
The kid was waiting for you to explode. But if you say, well, if you're not getting that, remember, put your earbuds in and listen back to what you wrote, especially that third paragraph. But I start back from the beginning, and then let's talk more about it.
Okay. I'm gonna interrupt you because I had this conversation with my son just like a month ago, 17 years old, because
I got one of those.
Yeah, I got a 19-year-old too, and we had this conversation about cheating with AI, and I told him, and I saw it in his eye. I told him, even if you were to use AI solely for cheating, I guarantee you, through the cheating process, you're going to learn something.
Ding, ding, ding. Is anybody home?
Yes.
So where
expound on that.
Do we have the win? Because think about it. Myself, I get test anxiety, all of these types of things. If I didn't have something to help me to get through it, now I have so much more confidence, even in large groups.
Yes, sir.
I would have people that could read through it, but I realized that it was the comprehension that I'm going for.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going through it slower, but I have a greater comprehension than someone who's they can get through the words.
Yeah.
Very little comprehension. So if I'm using this tool, let's say it's reading to me of what we're going through, I'm getting the comprehension and able to understand it and break it down. What did I just go through? Your student, my son, same way.
Yeah.
Now it's able to break it down, and now they can put it in their own words of what did you just hear? What did you just get from that?
Yeah.
And how would you apply on that? So now it becomes a supplemental tool.
Yeah.
Versus a cheating mechanism to someone, I just need to get through that test. A or F, E, whatever we want to call it, because it's funny. It only worked one time when you changed it to say that F is no longer going to be there. We'll use an E.
Yeah.
When the kids realize whatever you call it, that's a low grade, then I know the next time if you called it a number 1, but 1 means I failed, then I'm going to be upset. Back to saying, if you had the comprehension now of, wait a minute, I got 25% greater understanding of what they were talking about versus 0. I'm just going to take the E. I'll be grounded. Whatever my parents say, I don't care. I'm going to flunk out anyway.
But you learned.
Yeah.
Even just a little bit, you learned, which is going to keep expounding on that.
And if they're able to now articulate how they're getting this, because if we're so educated, shouldn't we be able to break it down at a low level for them to be able to get it? And then as we lift them up.
Yeah.
Versus, no, you got to step up to me. And I get it. I talk fast on purpose because I want to get their comprehension. They got the attention span of a TikTok. So it's all good with that.
Yeah.
We laugh with it, but it's not just the kids.
No, it's the adults too.
When I work with admins, I work 3 times as hard to say the same thing because they're distracted by so many other things, but you would slam a kid for that.
Oh my gosh.
So
and you would slam them in front of their peers
at
at such a vulnerable age where they shut down, they go back into their shell, and that trust, that relationship, done.
Yeah.
Done.
Now, it's sad to say I've worked with some educators that old school, they sort of like get this adrenaline rush to be able to do that. I have to believe that's what's going on, to be this pit bull.
Power trip kind of thing?
Yeah. It's like, nope, we're militant. I'm sitting up front. You guys line up. But this isn't society anymore. How we arrange things, we need them to be critical thinkers. So even when you're using AI does shrooms is what I tell people. It's true. What do we call it? It wants to be used as much as possible. Hallucinations. If it's not right, it's going to do its best. It's like, pick
AI
me.
does shrooms. I think you just came up with the title for our episode.
Oh my gosh, that's good. But if you think about it, I said, so many times you have the extensions off to the side, waiting to jump in. Use me. Put me in, coach.
Yeah,
Put me
yeah,
in,
yeah.
coach. Put me in. You want to use me, don't you?
Yeah.
And you know me. And so
I got what you need. I got what you
right, yeah. Woo. And it's like, it happened with a session I was doing last fall. ChatGPT, we were using the old version. So it stopped in 2021 with its database.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it can only go back so far. Yeah.
With that being said, I shared that with the educators that I was teaching. And so a person asked a question, what's the likelihood of the Detroit Lions making it into the Super Bowl? Chat says, I can answer this. But it was going by 2021. It was going by those stats. The likelihood.
And they made it in 2022.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
The whole,
Yes.
It was a big change. They're making references to a quarterback who is no longer there, all of this stuff. Now, what if we just took that for face value and said that is truth, but it's not?
Set in stone, don't argue with it.
But you have to challenge it. We even tell you that nothing is 100%. So we tell you nothing's 100%, but then we want to treat you like it's 100%. If you use AI, you're going to do it for cheating. You're going to do it for this. But what if it saves you time? So because AI is not teaching you social skills. It's not teaching you how to have a different perspective. It doesn't teach you empathy. One of the things I like about AI, if you have that child, we got to do a test with one of the tools, and they told our team, cuss it out. I love doing that with educators.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Cuss out AI.
Cuss out AI. You know, AI is non-emotional.
I figured, but you just gave me a task after the episode. I'm going to try that.
Right.
Not under my one account, but I'll do it under
No,
yeah.
look, you can use my account because let me tell you this. Once we started seeing the response, now think about this. I'm in your classroom. I know I didn't study. I haven't been paying attention. I like it when you throw me out in the hallway so I can zone out and do my own thing.
Yeah.
Now you embarrass me in front of everybody. F you, Mr. G. Who the hell you think you are? I'll kick you.
Yeah.
And you get me out. You're all worked up because I've embarrassed you as well. You're talking about it with your family. Your family's tired of hearing it all weekend long.
Yeah.
But F you, AI. Who you think you are? Typically, I see that you're upset right now.
A very AI response.
I would like for you to calm down, but maybe these are some different things that you could think about. Maybe take a deep breath. And back to the AI's not caring to get emotional.
Yeah.
And if that kid just wants that response and keeps getting this, wait a minute. When I cuss people out, usually they get mad, we get loud, and I show them I'm better than they are.
Yeah. And we have that power dynamic.
AI's not giving it to you. Typically, it's going to start to de-escalate the situation. When I tell you, educators, try it out. I'm telling you, get on Magic School or whichever one, School AI or one of those that you're safe. So when you're doing it, you know that you're testing this, not what you're student. But you start going through and asking the powers in the prompt and start going through the prompt. And it's giving you answers like, F that, I don't give a bip, 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 bip. And then you will watch and be amazed. And I tested with counselors. I said, what was the response? They said, that's the type of stuff we learn in textbooks, how we should respond. I said, but how many of you actually do that?
Exactly. We don't because
if
we're
it's not
humans.
Personable. Right.
We're humans and we act on emotion for the most part.
We are. I'm a very emotional person.
Yeah.
You know, I'm passionate. I get excited. You know, yay. You know, I'll try to, ooh. It's not that emotional. It's not going to touch the student the same way as, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I loved how. Would you say that one more time?
Yeah. That speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm now giving you value and worth and appreciation and respect that AI really can't give you.
Yeah.
So when we talk about how do we teach using this tool, but we don't want to change our outfit. We still want to dress in the overalls back when we were going into the factory, air quote, of the classroom. This is how we're going to do with the chalkboard. Do we still have chalkboards?
That is a good question. I haven't seen one in quite some time.
The sad thing, we do it in some spots. And because you start to say, wow, but we have these interactive boards, but I guarantee you, we have people that won't touch the interactive boards.
Correct. Yeah.
Because they're used to certain things. And so you
a typical whiteboard with
typical
expo markers.
whiteboard. So you still keep moving up that someone has barriers. I had teachers tell me one time, I don't use AI. My supervisor at the time didn't even know how to really respond to that because, you know, we're trying to be politically correct.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, we're coming in and like, okay. And I can I stand in, coach? I'm like AI now. I'm gonna do my shrooms. Let me do my shrooms. Come on, let me come in. You know. And I said, wait a minute. Let's take a break. Let me ask you some questions. What type of phone? You have a flip phone, right? And he goes, well, no.
Then you use AI.
So you have a smartphone. I said, so your car has to be older than the 70s, right?
Yeah.
No. You don't go to the grocery stores. You don't
use navigation tools.
Right. You don't go to fast food restaurants anymore. Because now when you pull up, hi, may I take your order, please? Will you be using the app today? That's not a person.
Yeah. Do you stream Netflix, Spotify, Apple Music, any of those services?
Man, I love that. You're saying that, we're Zooming. We're doing conference call that can record and keep notes to our meetings of what we had. And I do that. I said, so it's not that you don't use AI. You're saying you want to establish boundaries of how far that you're going to allow it to influence you in your life. Don't say that you don't use it and keep your students ignorant of these tools. And if you want them to progress once they're supposedly leave your district, do you want them to succeed? Because they won't be able to make money pushing a mop. Now, I used to strip floors and all this stuff as third shift. As educators, we have multiple streams of income because we don't get paid enough. Hello, mark that down. Let's change that. But I noticed something at one of the big stores that I used to ride these things to strip and mop the floors.
Yeah. Like they didn't Zamboni kind of thing?
Yeah. They didn't buy new units. They put a motherboard and sensors around it, and it does it by itself.
Got it. Sam's Club has that exact same thing.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I talk about that, so that means if your kid never touches AI, they can't even make money pushing a mop because they got a machine that's been programmed to do it.
Yes.
That won't complain, that won't be late.
That won't get emotional.
You know what I'm saying? Man, this is the third time I have to clean this up.
Yeah.
You know. So is your students able to program and design? Or is your students the one sitting off to the side and say, I need a handout? I found this cardboard and said, we'll work for food. I really don't want to work though.
I'll mop for food. Yeah.
Well, I can't mop because I didn't pay attention of how to mix the chemicals
and what not to mix.
You know what I'm saying? Mixing. And so again, the accountability of what we need to help them to succeed, not in today, because if we just stick with what's happening today, we're behind.
We're doing them a disservice. Yeah.
We're at a disservice, but we're behind because what's happening today is not going to reflect tomorrow. We got to be ahead. We got to help them to dream. And I had some teachers help me with a session. We were doing some unplugged tools. And then I said, so let's write a narrative about what we visually see. We were using Kiva planks. And one teacher kept saying, why do you guys keep making references to a lifeguard? I said, well, walk totally around the creation that was made. They changed their perspective and took a look and said, oh, because they were from behind and it looked like a wall straight up.
Yeah.
When they came to a different perspective, they could see a placement of a seat that looked like where a lifeguard would sit down. And so how the other people, and then it told me, it says, Ron, now you need to start sharing. Don't judge until you have a 365-degree perspective of what you're looking at and what you're sharing, and try to open up the mindset of those that are around you. And that said, wow, so even with AI or what other tools that we're going to be using, if they've used two other letters together later on and say this is the power thing, because it will still keep upgrading and changing. Can we look at multiple ways to look at it? Will people cheat in you? Yep. But they would cheat even without that.
Yeah.
What you got? You know, they had a show, God, am I old? Welcome Back, Carter, and you had people doing that, lead it in. You know what I'm saying?
That takes me back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's an example. You know, Ferris Bueller, you know, the people trying to constantly cheat or be slick over someone
the path
else.
of least resistance.
They work harder to try to con you versus using that creativity to move forward.
Yeah.
I was working with a student in a building several years ago, and he asked me, hey, can you get me into this Chromebook? And I was like, open up this filter. And I said, well, this is my building to do that. And I joked. I said, but you look pretty swift, like you know how to do that anyway. He says, I do. I run my own company. I said, hold up. Break this down to me. And he goes, yeah. Local businesses hire me to do web design and blah, 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 blah. I said, would you be on our student panel that I'm having? Sure. He was afraid to tell his mom. This is a high school student. Found out he was a special needs student who was dyslexic, flunking out of school, but running a business. No one in the school knew he was running a business.
Wow.
And people said, well, you probably use technology to help you. And he says, no, I'm dyslexic. That's how I learned about that. His mom was a college professor, but she was upset until she came to the event and learned about her own son. Didn't know the potential that he had, but he already wrote off school because people wrote him off.
Got it.
And he was saying, I will make it in life another way. But guess what? It's sad to say no one gave him that perspective of 365 and say, what is something that we can tap into and find this strength and work on those weaknesses? Don't say that we ignore that, but it's a different way because the way that we've been coming at it isn't working for him.
Just a different perspective, like you said.
We were doing accessibility with for esports. And we're talking about how it lit up one of the students that we were able to create a device to help them now participate, which this kid normally very challenging in the room. Everybody didn't think, oh, he didn't like anything. But guess what? Once we started getting him gaming, even when he's not gaming, and other people started doing this, he could barely have an emotion, but he would move that head, take a look, and a soft grin would hit his face. He was now lighting up on the inside. And when the staff's like, oh my gosh, we've never seen this. We found a way to help to tap into a deeper and a desire to, wait a minute, I want to be able to do more. So I have nicknames I tease when I go to districts. I said, I got two. You know, I'm the box breaker of FedEx. And people tease, I said, because I don't spoon feed. When I work special needs, you know, I'm not trying to be sympathetic to the kids to where, wait a minute, if you can do this, I want you to do it. I help you break through the ceiling. You know, so if you can put that fork in your mouth and you got a plate of food and say you're hungry, you will starve to death if you ask me to put that food in your mouth for you.
Yeah.
But when you can't, then I will help lift it up and adjust, or we will find tools to help you get to that next level. But then I tell teachers, but guess what? If we're doing sessions and you don't participate and try and be your ideal student, I turn into FedEx and ship you in that box out of the area because you wouldn't tolerate that from your student. We need to model what we expect to have happen in our environment because kids are paying attention. They know educators have been far too hypocritical. And I'm not just talking classroom teachers, the whole
system in general.
As a whole. And I think AI is sort of pointing that out as well. Like, wait a minute. It doesn't take this long to do that if you do it in this perspective. And so I'm like, wow. I know it's helped me. So I appreciate having the ability to be able to utilize the tools. I don't use it for everything. But when it's a need to save the time, that then I can sit down and say, let's have a conversation and give that person eye contact. Whoa. If you don't think it's true, drive down the street and see how many people that are on a device that might walk out and don't even know that you were there and almost hit them. Or people passing each other. I got 5 kids. So we're going to the even years. So the ages of my household, and it's girl, boy, girl, 16, 18,
2 years apart.
20, 22. And to see them sit down and they're having conversations via text. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all know this is one of those moments we're going to move the lips. Madisons are going to talk. Let's put them down and have some conversation. You know, we got the music playing. Y'all can pick who's going to play the playlist. We'll do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alexa, play, ba, 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 Siri, play, whatever. We can have fun with that. But let's have some dialogue. Let's find out what's about them. We get much more greater reward from human interaction than just a device. Even with people that think, no, I'm an introvert. I don't speak to people.
Yeah, you can't use that as a crutch.
No.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So, all right, we've touched upon a lot of good points here. How can people connect with you? Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure people watching or listening or watching a clip or what have you are going to want to kind of pick your brain a little bit more on this and maybe bring that back to their district, their department, their organization. So how can people connect with you? And what you do?
Absolutely, and I appreciate it. The Twitters.
Yeah, right. Twix, as Carl Hooker would call it, Twix.
I do Wakanda in a reverse kind of way, like X, Anyway, Madison_Ron, that's RON, because sometimes when I'm speaking, it sounds like Ryan, which is my oldest son's name, so RON. Blue Sky, I think I went to Ron Madison, Ron.Madison. I have to look at that. I apologize. If you hit me on the one, I'll respond to you and share that stuff. Or you can email me, madison.ron@gmail.com is the simplest way that we can do that. And we can move forward. I love to help people. I don't know everything. But what I do,
sharpens steel.
I really do. I love being around great people. And one thing I strive to do is not to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be around people who know more because it inspires me to want to learn more and to apply their greatness. That's why I love being around you and like, oh my gosh, we're at TCA and people get fired up and we ask questions and then you're like, Ron, you're out of time. Shut up, click, So that's why you have the power of the mute. So anyway, I will be quiet right there, but that's one of the simplest ways people can contact me.
And I'll put that information in the show notes that way you guys can connect with Ron, what he's doing, reach out, email on the Twix or what have you, and that way you can connect. I mean, it's beautiful what you said. If you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You really are.
Yeah.
If we could do a session just on that alone.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we been with leadership who really doesn't know the topic, but feel, I mean, literally, I was talking to one yesterday here, not my district, praise God for that, but really believe they're the smartest one. And I'm like, but your team asked me to come in and help them. Oh, they don't need you.
All right.
But they asked me to come in and help. And so I would tell those teachers, they was like, Ron, you know better. That's why we call you. And so it's sad to get that, but I don't want to be that type of person.
Yeah. Got it. All right. Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate the conversation. I want to tip my hat to you.
Man, thank you so much.
Everything that you contribute to our educational space, what you're doing for our community, our staff, our students. And I just want to thank you and tip my hat to you, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. And if nothing else, my last words is, people in education, y'all better keep 3 good jokes in your back pocket for yourself. They say laughter's like medicine. It's some days that are rough, and you got to sometimes just be able to smile, show 3 teeth. They don't even have to be together, and tell yourself it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And press through, and it will. So
I appreciate
thank you.
Good advice. Good advice. Sounds good. Thank you.